evening.
Yeah, right.
What's up, Jen?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, staying cool.
You're naturally cool. You're naturally cool. Mao, Daniel, ¿cómo está? ¿Bien?
Bien, bien, bien.
Good, good.
How about you, man? How's everything?
I'm good. I guess I'm not coming to Peru, huh?
not this year.
It's not this year, yeah.
Remind me to talk to you about Japan. I've got a really, really great connect in Japan.
Okay.
Amazing.
That sounds good.
So we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's do that. But yeah, Peru is happening. Don't worry about it.
All right, good.
At some point in the future.
Good. So, do you have a flow? Do you have kind of an idea of how you want to rock with it tonight, or are we just freestyling it and seeing how it goes?
Yeah, it's kind of there's a structure to it, but most of it is just the idea is for it to be a conversation that allows us to go as deep as we can into the subject, and we're going to show a little bit of the Oaxaca documentary that's going to give an overview of what we're talking about when we're talking about the exploration of the remote and so on. So that's going to happen more at the beginning, and then we'll dive into the conversation. And as I was telling Jenna before, the idea is we did put kind of a structure together, but the idea is for like everyone to just jump in and ask questions and so on. And at the end, we'll have an open Q&A for the audience.
Cool. With it.
So there's still 3 minutes to 7 p.m. Central Time. I guess we'll give a 5-minute cushion for people that are a bit late to connect, and then we can kick it off. No?
How much are you expecting? How many people are you expecting?
I think there's 150 sign-ups, so maybe.
Oh, bloody hell.
And there's a limit. I think there's a limit for 100 participants in this meeting or something. So we'll see. We'll see if we get there.
Cool. Colin, what's up, man? You all right?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be included. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. I've been peeking in from the outside, listening to the podcasts and watching the documentaries, and I'm just stoked, man. Like it's unreal. So inspiring.
That's awesome, dude.
Good deal. Good to see you out here, man.
Right on. Thank you. Good to see you. Glad to see everyone's doing well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. California's kind of crazy. How is Mexico? How is the vibes in Mexico right now? As far as COVID goes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mexico's pretty anarchic, and so people do whatever they want. But still, it's and the government is also pretty insane. But in general, it's been crazy times all over the world, man. I know, like it's just been insane,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we're riding with it.
Yeah. So we can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Learning and taking up the challenge.
Yep, that's all we can do. It's definitely a challenge and an experience all in one.
Hey, so to the people that are just coming into the conversation, we're just giving a 5 minutes for more people to connect, and then we'll start the conversation.
Yeah, 5-minute buffer, and then we're good to go. It's probably best if people mute themselves, like just to make sure there's no background noise filtering in. Okay, people are jumping in. You know what they did? I don't know how how it is in English, but in Spanish or in Mexico, you know, whenever you went to the theaters and there was this announcement, they were like, first call, primera llamada, primera, for people to get ready. So this is the primera llamada, primera. Joe, what up?
What up? What's going on?
Oh, good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hey, Jenna. Hey, Hakeem.
Okay, so yeah, again, for those just coming in, we're starting in at 7:05 for those in Central Standard Time. So 3 more minutes, and then we'll jump right into it. So this is, I guess, la segunda llamada, second call. Any maybe humming music you wanna?
I'm just admiring all the superstars in this. What do we call this? Chat room, Zoom room. What do we call? There's a lot of heavyweights in here.
Look at that.
What's up, Melissa? What's up, Mr. Caprica? I see Edgar here. Let me see whatever. I see Benjamin in here.
Good. Again, for those just coming in, we're going to start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and we're ready to rumble. Right. One. So we're about to begin. All right, let's do this then.
Okay, welcome everyone. So there's probably going to be people joining us, so we might just repeat a couple of things, but yeah, welcome. Welcome everyone. My name is Daniel. For those who don't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of Aire Libre, together with Mao. We're both co-directing the project, and just wanted to say a few starting words, and that is thank you. Thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you to all of you for following us and hearing what we have to say and believing in the project and what we're doing. And of course, I mean, having Hakeem and Jenna on board for this conversation is super exciting for us. What we're trying to do with this series of conversations is just to bring these subjects out there that matter to us and that we think that can be of value to other people as well, and get other people to be able to access these things through us as well. So as many of you know, the topic of this conversation is about exploring the remote. Conversation on the power of running to explore the remote inside and outside ourselves. So this is basically a freestyle conversation between Hakeem, Jenna, Mauricio, and myself. And the idea is to dive into these ideas and explore what we mean by the exploration of the remote and what the value in it is for us. And also, what we mean by inside, like inside exploration, this remoteness of the mind or remoteness of the soul, and also the remoteness of place and what it brings for us to explore places that are further away from our daily lives, from our comfort zone, and what that does to our lives. And also why running, right? Like why we choose this practice. And I think Hakeem will have a lot to add about other types of movement as well and mindfulness, but there's something that we found that's incredible about running that allows us to access remote places within ourselves and outside ourselves that's pretty profound. So we'll go into that as well. I just wanted to start off, I mean, I already introduced myself, and again, it's amazing to have all of you on board. It's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this. And I just wanted to kick it off with our other guests introducing themselves. If you want to go ahead, Jenna.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm really grateful to be here. Glad that Dan and Mao invited me to be a part of this. I am local. I live in Southern California and Los Angeles area, but born and raised in Portland, Oregon, so the Pacific Northwest. I've been running for what feels like forever, although it kind of just came up as more of an adult hobby after I had graduated from college. I really do love road racing, but I think that one of the biggest kind of gifts I've given myself is this opportunity to really go out and, just enjoy running for the pure movement of it. And through that, I've found a lot of great ways where, I was able to join the Aire Libre group down in northern Patagonia at the end of 2019. And that was an experience that I'll never forget. So being able to, get off the road and start doing some other things with movement and using my body has allowed me to meet this community. And I hope to continue to be in that space and meet more and more people who are eager to be a part of it.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you.
Hakeem, what's up?
So, hi everyone, my name is Hakeem Tafarai. I am also living in LA, originally from England, by the way of many different other places in the world. But now I'm here residing in LA, and I'm just honored and humbled to be part of this conversation along with my La Familia in Mao and Daniel, and I know Rebecca's on the scene somewhere. But for me, it's just been it's been one of those game-changing, life-changing experiences, especially being somebody from the areas of somewhere like Ipswich and Brixton, and I would never would have thought in a million years that I would have ended up in Oaxaca and Chiapas, and so hopefully soon be going to Peru with these brothers. But there is something to be said when you take yourself out of the grimy, the gritty, the city that you know, that you love, that you already know the ins and outs of, and then you go into an experience that you are not used to, that you are not succumb to. You know, going from, you know, being in the city where you're in the middle of Koreatown or you're in the middle of Chinatown to being somewhere in the middle of the jungle. No Wi-Fi, no TV, no electricity, but you get to indulge and experience the indigenous experience, which is very auspicious in itself. And it really does something not only to the mental psyche, but to the spiritual psyche too. And again, I think that is one of the main reasons why I love Aire Libre. They are my family, and why I love the experiences and love sharing these experiences. So yeah, we'll talk more about it in the Zoom.
Well, I guess that leaves it to me. I'm Mauricio Diaz, also very lucky enough to call myself a co-founder of Aire Libre. It's been a huge, crazy, never-ending adventure, and yeah, well, honored and very, very happy to be opening this conversation, no? And trying to tell. You know, our project has always, since its beginnings, been about telling and showing other possibilities of how we can live and what we can explore and what there's out there. And this is just another amazing opportunity. You know, maybe one of the good sides of all of this craziness that's happening all around is that, you know, we are, I don't know, a big bunch of people from all corners of the world connected and trying to listen to this story, you know. And so yeah, it's been a fortune, you know, to know many people that are online through this journey, through the experiences. Hakeem, you know, the experiences we've been on together in various parts of the world, and Jenna in Patagonia, and yeah, it's just it's very exciting to have this opportunity, and I hope yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to go deep into the story and this adventure of the remote. You know, the remote where can mean various things, and I guess this is what's going to make this conversation rich. And I think and I also invite everyone, you know, to at any point further down the conversation to jump in. And so yeah, a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, and let's move on.
Thank you, Mo. So yeah, what we wanted to do at the beginning is we recently released a documentary called Discovering Oaxaca, which is the last experience where Hakeem was on board, and we had this amazing filmmaker coming on board, Joshua Labur, and documenting the whole experience. And we just want to show the first 5 minutes of this documentary, which really opens up and gets us warmed up to the subject in this talk, and it'll give all of you a glimpse not only into what our experiences are, but also into what this is, what we mean by exploring remote places and why we feel it's important, and also the effect this has on the people that have experienced it. I think we have Fernando online, and he's going to be in charge of showing the documentary.
I need some permission to screen share.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's on your side. When you have share screen, abajo.
Yep. And then in share screen.
Dale advanced y le tienes que dar permiso a todos para compartir.
Okay, 1 second. This technological, not the most savvy If not, I think it's easier if I shared my.
Yeah, go for it.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
All right.
It's just, it's like the first day you get here, you're sort of like within your cautious self, and you're like, I know what this shit's about. Like, I know what this is going to be. And the first run, I'm kind of like, okay, I know what this trip's going to be like. And I'm still like super measured and sort of like calculating and all that shit. And then I'm like day or 2 or 3, I'm sort of like letting go and forgetting all my pretenses, and like, I'm probably being less of an asshole. And it's like, I don't know, it's weird. There was some moments where I just was like, man, I don't think I've like felt this, like, I just haven't felt like this much freedom in a long time.
While you breathe, I want you to let go of any preconceived notions that you might have. But today, tomorrow, days off.
That the things that they keep up in the altar are usually stuff that used to like while he was alive. Not so, say, who really loved croissants as I do. Probably my girlfriend in my altar would put like croissants, so that this day when I come back, I find what I liked the most.
I, for one, I did Chiapas last year, and I led the mindfulness meditation practice. And not only was it transformative for me, I got to see all the individuals on this journey transform into something so magical and beautiful. And what it did was it made us so much more tight and cohesive. And when you talk about La Familia, or family, or community, we got to see it hand in hand in its most magnificent form.
I've never done anything like this before, and it just seemed like a great opportunity to take my running into a new space. So I've run a lot. I've been running for half my life, and I do a lot of the other things we've been doing, like meditation and yoga.
Excellent. Arms out and up. Grab your right wrist. Reach the.
And like a nice little stretch for the morning. Nice little wake up for the mind.
It's a beautiful morning.
Yeah, it really is. Really is.
I think it just looked really cool. And like a way to kind of like, explore and kind of live out some of values or bring that into my life, like through run. So just like curiosity, getting to connect with other people.
I came because I really needed to unplug, and I love Mexico. I love traveling by experiencing new places, not just from a bus or from a van, but really getting to see a lot of it on foot. And this seemed like a really great way to do that with some structure around it. I knew that I would be pushed and challenged because I'm new-ish to running. I really like it. But I also probably wouldn't run 7 miles uphill by myself.
Those are the mountains where we're gonna be running for the next 3 days. There and like far behind all of that chain of mountains that we're gonna be from.
Right on. So yeah, that's just a little glimpse into what this documentary is. I hope you all got to see it properly. There was a bit of lag, but if you want to see the whole thing, that's up on our site, idelibre.run/beyondrunning. And you can watch the whole thing there. It's about 40 minutes and it's super profound. I mean, just to dive right into the topic of the talk, we wanted to start it off by, so there's two main areas in this talk that we wanted to explore. One is remoteness of place and what that means and what that brings to our lives when we explore remote places in the physical world. And the other one is remoteness of the mind and the soul, so the inside part of the remote. And I wanted to kick it off with remoteness of place. And I thought I would read just a snippet of the Aire Libre manifesto, which I think can really kick off this conversation. And after that, Hakeem, Jenna, Mao, if you guys just wanna go for it, please do. So this is what it says. We look for new perspectives within cultures and communities in remote places that exist outside of modern societal structures, which are focused only on progress and gain. In their philosophies, we find a focus on gratitude and connection to the earth, and an understanding that our survival is tied to the health of the planet. We also recognize that stories are powerful tools to help us imagine, teach, and learn about what other people value. Our work is to establish relationships with these places and people and to share their wisdom through movement, storytelling, and experiences that bring us in contact with a different reality.
All right.
So, yeah. Anyone wants to jump in and add to that?
I'll go ahead and start there. I think for me, that manifesto really resonates with me, particularly when I think about what life has been for me in the Los Angeles area. You know, everything is go, go, go. I've got, in the past, prior to COVID, I had, you know, my hands dipped in all sorts of different projects, whether they were for work or for fun or a passion project or, you know, running with the run crew and really seeing the urban concrete jungle for what it is. And, you know, sometimes it's really hard to see outside of just all that busyness that's going on. So being able to like really take a moment to, you know, see what else is around, and even if it's just in the backyard of, you know, the Santa Monica Mountains, something that's been really, really, really awesome. And I continue to hope to like look into myself is there's specific routes in the Santa Monica Mountains. And if you take it, just, you know, really enjoying the experience and what you're doing out there. I've run the Bulldog Loop. I'm not sure if anyone else from Los Angeles is familiar, but like, I swear about every 10K, you're looking at something that's new. This looks like a, you know, rocky formation, and the landscape's just constantly changing and you're constantly being challenged. And just as soon as you look and say, hey, I'm looking out over the rest of the mountain area, I continue to run and I come around a rock and I just see more. And, you know, having that, just continually being in awe of what I'm experiencing in those moments. And even something like that is just, you know, right outside my front door in the city. Just so, you know, being able to consciously disconnect from the hustle and bustle of what we think of as the urban life is something that's been really, really important.
Yeah.
You know, just to add on to what both of you said, I think for me, and I don't know for all the people who are in this Zoom who have actually had an opportunity to not only explore an indigenous area of the world, but to run in it, is something mystical. And I think that the remoteness is something very, very deep, especially for a lot of us. And I don't know if I want to say we are very spoilt or we're very used to, and we get sedentary in our ways. But when we get familiar with a route, we like running that route. When we get familiar with a certain area in the city, we love to, we're used to it. But when you are challenged to run not only a different part of, whether it be the city or the area of the world, that brings a sense of adventure. That brings a sense of, okay, now I'm going to have to really resort to other means within my psyche. Now I'm going to have to resort to other means within my whole body. And it might feel different because, as I said, you run, we run Griffith Loop. We know that. We know Griffith. So you know the route, you know ins and outs. But then when you're running up a volcano in Chiapas, you don't know where you're going. You don't know what could be lying around the corner. You don't know what you're going to be running into or what sights are going to be beholding. And the beauty of it is when you do accept that you are stepping in the unknown. And when you charter those limits of the unknown is where the true complex beauty of the adventure begins. And I think for all of us here who have experienced those type of feelings, there is something magical when you reach that pinnacle. I remember for me, one of those adventures was, as I said, running up a volcano with Daniel and fighting off this rabid hybrid beast dog to get to the pinnacle. But once we got there, we were on top of the earth and all we saw was the heavens around us. And for those brief 10-15 minutes of like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to fight this rabid dog just to get to where we're gonna get, we might not make it. In the flip and the power of the impermanence, we were looking at something so glorious and powerful that it brought a whole dimension and auspiciousness to that adventure. And I think that is one of the greatest things about adventures and being able to escape and being able to explore remoteness. You are able to challenge yourself. You are able to say to yourself, I can do these things and I can explore the unexplorable. I can try to touch the unattainable. And when you do, that is what we call the nirvana or the bliss of the run, the Tao of the run, so to speak. So for me, I think it's so important, whether it be challenging yourself in your own city, challenging yourself to go out of the box, and challenging yourself to go on adventures like this, because I think that most of us are so stuck that we need to get unstuck to really find the true beauty of the adventure. So again, that's why I feel like these adventures and finding the remoteness is so important, because that just adds another tool, another notch to your tool belt that you can do a thing. It adds enough things to your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-determination, and so forth. So that's another beautiful aspect of why this is so important.
Yeah, it's pretty epic, and I think very in line with what Jenna and you said, Hakeem. On my side, well, first of all, I think remoteness doesn't precisely mean, in my terms of view, a very far away place. Remote can be the street that you never take. You always go out of your house and you take a right, but you have never made that left turn, and that is as remote as deep down in the canyons of the Tarahumara in northern Mexico, no? And because both are unknown, both scenarios are going to force you to pay attention, because we most run on autopilot in our day-to-day lives. We are, our brain is this, this system that optimizes for saving energy and trying to just, I've seen that already. I don't have to even pay attention. I know that thing exists. And so we go on and on and on, and we forget to see, we forget to recognize. And so once you make that left turn, or once you go deep down into the canyons of Tarahumara in Chihuahua, you have to see, you have to open your eyes, and then you remember that how easy it is, just by allowing yourself to look a bit further, or to just paying attention to details of how much amazing stuff there is in this world, and how much amazing stuff there is in just in general in life, from either that, that amazing tree that you have never, seen before because you didn't make that turn, to anything. So I think that's mostly for me, the power of the remoteness, the power of of why it is so transformative is because it helps you, it forces you to be there. It forces you to be mindful of the moment, and connected, so I mean, talking about the experiences that we run, it's amazing to see, because we do go to very remote places, we don't not only make that left turn, but we go really, really into very exotic, places that you wouldn't ever believe they could exist. And when that happens, you're mind blown, you're mind blown, and because it remembers you, and it reminds you of I think of life, of this amazing gift that we are so fortunate to have, that is us with moving, breathing, witnessing, and so yeah, I mean, that's my take on that concept, no?
Yeah, for sure. This thing of like just being able to get off the autopilot, and giving yourself the chance to be present and aware, and start just getting all these things in is amazing. And that reminds me of, I mean, what you guys just said, of two things. One is, since we've started Aire Libre, it's been amazing, first to witness it on a personal level, how this thing of not only, and it aligns a lot to what Maurice is saying, when you're somewhere unknown, you instantly become more aware. And that, put together with accessing foreign cultures and places that are so completely different to our ways of life, is incredibly powerful, because then you actually, it's not like you're just hopping out of a tour bus with your cans of soda and your chips, and then you get off and you have a look around, and then jump back in and turn on your phone, and that's it. This is actually, and that brings to another topic we've always been exploring, which is why running. What is it about running that is so powerful for these things? And that is, it makes you vulnerable, it makes you aware, puts you in the frequency of a place, and it connects you in a very, very spiritual level to what's going on in that place, to the energy of that place. And having those things mixed together, this thing that Mauricio was mentioning with the being more aware in unknown places, and to what Hakeem was referring to with the crazy dog that we had to fight off to get to the top of the mountain, is I think it's a real power of exploring remote places through running, or through movement in general, a movement that makes you vulnerable. It sensitizes you to what's going on around you, and it just brings you back to your nature. It's a very primitive form of movement, and it just brings you back to your humanity, without everything that we're used to being surrounded by. It's just you. You know, it's just you, a pair of shorts, and maybe something to drink and some snacks. And that's it, and you're off. Now you're off to connect to these places, and just wait and see what's in front of you. And that level of awareness really transforms your life. It really touches you in a very profound level, and it puts everything you know into perspective. And then, like, again, matching that to seeing how other people live up in the mountains and far away from modern societies, and just as our manifesto said, no, people that are in complete harmony and contact with Mother Earth. It's just incredible to see how simple it can be and how real it can be without everything else. So it's I mean, for me, it's definitely been a life-changing journey. It's been incredible, and every time we go out on these explorations, and every time I can apply it to my own runs, to my own life, it definitely brings new stuff to your awareness that is invaluable. It just, I can be grateful enough for being in this position to be able to explore the world like we have, and connect to others through this. Right?
So I was just going to add, no. So Jenna, what are you there, no? Like, and this idea of like, why would running would make it the perfect practice to do this? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that running has afforded me the opportunity to honestly see things that I never thought I would see. And that is honestly just being able to take my body, down a trail, kind of off the charted area where there's no roads to get to. And there's for me such the sense of like accomplishment and, confidence and this kind of self-awareness that I'm really attracted to feeling these feelings. I'm going out on a run, if it's uphill up a mountain and it's challenging, like my heart's beating, and I'm really honestly so aware of what's going on as the sun beating down on my shoulders. And I'm not thinking about the elevation gain or how challenging the actual physical run is, but I'm able to really tune in with how my body's feeling. And there's just such that sense of like pride and being fully in the moment. I can feel my lungs, they're working hard. I can feel my heart beating. And when I make it down the trail and finally get to the water and like really kind of decompress, I'm just so in awe with what I've experienced. And sure, my legs are cut up as shit because I ran through sticker bushes, but what I really take is like the views I saw, and the trail smelled like lemon because there was some plants there that really had that sensory experience. And why running? I wouldn't get that if I was just driving in a car to go see something, or not even putting myself in a position to feel these feelings and have that awareness. And I can't think of any other way. I'm sure there are, but I can't think of any other way that I could really do the things I do and be able to connect back with myself in that way.
I think running is it's a crazy man's meditation. It's a crazy folk meditation. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to say most of us right here are some crazy folks, because a lot of us are like, yeah, I'm just going to go run 20 miles. I'm just going to go run in the middle of nowhere for like 40 miles and see how I feel. You've got to be a really, honestly, legit crazy motherfucker to do that, honestly. And I think there's, I mean, realistically, but in that craziness is a beauty. And in that beauty is that we like to explore the body's limitations. And in that exploration is another form of complex beauty. Because when I say that complex beauty, it's complex in the aspect of it is really hard. It is not simple. You have to really negate your breath. You have to really see how your body's feeling in those times. You have to really navigate in certain spaces between your mind, your body, and your spirit. And you have to also be hyper vigilant to your surroundings and everything around you, especially when it's something that you are not used to, the surroundings that you're not used to, and so forth. But the beauty in it is that it is so rewarding and so fulfilling. And I don't like to say enjoy, I like to say full joy, because the fullness of the enjoyment of the situation is so impactful. And it is like a drug, but it is a beautiful drug in the aspect, we often use that term of runner's high. And there is something so beautiful in that runner's high when you get to that stream, or you get to that lake or that waterfall, or you get to that peak, and you take a look and you're like, man, I did that. Or you take a sip from that stream and you're like, man, this is the purest water I've ever tasted on this earth. And I did that to get here. So it is a beautiful extreme that you are kind of testing your body and you're pushing it, but it is also beautiful in the aspect that you're having to show compassion for yourself. And sometimes we forget to show compassion for ourselves. I think all of us in this chat are seldomly like forgetting to give ourselves a pat on the back, to give ourselves like thank you, or man, I love myself for doing that. Seldomly do we forget that. So in these times when you run, especially when you're running remotely and you're running by yourself, you're able to have these certain conversations with yourself. And you're able to have these kind of dialogues with yourself, which make the run even more special, because a lot of the times we don't get to tune back into self. And this is a great opportunity to do just that. So not only is it great in the aspect that you're running, you're achieving something, you're putting your body into a next level, but you're also engaging your body into other dimensions that you might not have before. And you're having to engage and have dialogues and better yourself in that running. So why not? Why not run and explore nature and explore beauty and encompass the whole thing together? And I think that is another reason why we love running. Even in the craziness of it, even in the aspect, as Jenna was saying, scraping up our shins and our knees and, getting cuts everywhere and being sweaty and smelly as fuck, there's still a beauty of accomplishing that accomplishment and looking at it and being like, wow, I did that, or we did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And well, I have three ideas, three thoughts to add up to why running. And well, first of all, when I say running, I don't mean or I don't think of running only fast. Like for us, at least in our project, running for us means just moving 1 foot in front of the other. It doesn't really have an expectation of if it's fast or not, as long as it's yourself propelling yourself forward with your 2 feet. That's running. So considering this, then I mean, and I'm going to quote now a very good friend of us, and also luckily a collaborator of our project, ultramarathon runner Ricky Gates. Who, well, among many amazing, crazy projects, he ran across America, and he has a way of nailing this down. I think very, in a very great way, which says running as opposed, or approaching a new place, or approaching a new culture, or approaching someone on your 2 feet is completely different than if you approach them in another mean, say whether that was a car, a bus, or anything else, a bicycle, a motorcycle. If you come walking, if you come running, you're on the same ground level. You are not intimidating. You are not there's I guess an easier way and to connect with a foreigner if you come on your feet. So that's why I think running, in our cases, and we see it, uh, it's completely different. I mean, you just have to picture this, Imagine this. Imagine a village up in northern Patagonia, a small village where you could either approach it. You could come running with a group of people enjoying, laughing, and that has from the spectator, from the one in the town looking at that, it's completely different, as if that same group of people came in a yellow bus, making a lot of noise with a motor and parking, and so that's already like a big difference, so that's like a very, I don't know, it's a very interesting way, and Ricky Gates nails it down in a very, very interesting way. And I think running is so powerful because it levels you, it puts you on the same ground, with everyone. So you start off with a relationship which is equal, and not as me a spectator of you, or vice versa. It's like we are both we're humans, we both have feet, and you come into in a contact in a more natural way, so that's one reason. First, there's I can also think of a second reason, which is definitely very technical, which is why running, or why running is because you can access places that many in many other ways you could not. There's the trails we run in. There's no way a car could go into that. There's no way, even a mountain biker could go into that. So your body, your feet can get you to really, really far away in remote places, and that's why it's also so powerful. And last thing is running, and again connecting it to my first point, you're connected to the ground, you're connected to the place. The energy that you receive and the energy that you give back on your feet is completely different than if it was in another way. So it allows you to connect energetically with a place in a very distinctive and crazy, mysterious way when you're running in wherever it is that it is. There's some, energetically, it's amazing to, and so much powerful to connect if you're doing it moving on your body and the place than with in any other way. So those are my three like thoughts, and that I could complement already the great things that Hakeem, Jen, and Danny already said.
And also on my side, just to add a thought there, and to put it out there for everyone that's listening, it's amazing how nowadays running is mostly purely seen as a fitness activity. After everything we've just heard from everyone that's in this talk, again, it's a magical thing about talks like this, because you get to see things in a new light. And I think seeing running as a powerful tool as it is, it's incredible. And that's kind of also one of the topics of this talk is this part where running is a tool to access deeper places and remote places within ourselves. And Jenna, I know you come from a running crew background in LA and so on. I'm curious just how it's been for you to realize this path in running, and how it's affected you also in a way that you've been able to connect, and why you think it's such a powerful tool for that.
When you first mentioned, people thinking of running as like a fitness, I immediately kind of resonated with that. And I reflect a lot on, when I'm able to run in more remote places and kind of let go of these like paces and distance and all these requirements I had in my head about, running to race or running, for more of a fitness reason, is like, I look at myself as, I'm running a marathon. I'm on the road and it's a hot day. So am I going to get to a water station and pour a cup of water over my head? well, not me, because I claim I hate being wet, but, you know, put me in the mountains on the trail, and at every single water crossing that I'm in, you know, I stop and get my feet wet. I splash the water on myself. I dip my CLA hat in, and like my attitudes and my behaviors are so different. And on the road, I tell you, I don't like being wet. And then here I am, just like fully immersed in this moment. I came across this water crossing and my body says, cool me down. And, you know, it's that connection again to the place, and, you know, not having these, I don't do this or I only do this type of thing. And I'm really just there feeling the movement and experiencing that. And it's such a powerful thing to even be able to reflect on those experiences, and, you know, maybe kick some of those ideas and rules I had for myself, just as a runner in general, and be aware that, you know, when my situation or environment changes, I'm much more flexible, and kind of, you know, be very mindful to hopefully be that person that's flexible and open and willing to change and really just be in the moment, no matter if I'm exploring somewhere remote and in nature, or even just, you know, out in the urban environment running with run crews. And it's something that I really hope that I can share with other people and other primarily urban runners, you know, moving forward, especially in times of COVID and with things being a little bit different, is, you know, let's look outside of, you know, these rigid routines we've built ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I used to hate running before. I mean, up until 6 months before we started Aire Libre is when I started running, and I used to hate it before that, because I was never able to get into it through the fitness aspect and through the kind of routine part of it. And I think it was when it clicked that it was such a powerful tool for meditation and for consciousness and so on, that really clicked for me, and it changed my it completely changed my relationship to the sport. And it just became something that it became easier on one side, because there wasn't this pressure to constantly like be trying to achieve something, and it really became about connecting to myself and connecting to my surroundings. So I think the more people get to see it like that, the more people will have access to this incredible tool, and everything it brings to someone's life. And Hakeem, I'm sure you have tons to add to that. And oh, you just muted yourself.
There we go.
There you go.
So, you know, for me, I think running has always been therapeutic for me. And I think all of us in some point or aspect came into running or had some running background because of we had to do it in school or college, or, you know, we had to do it because it was part of PE. And, you know, I came into running more so later on in life, and it was a form of therapy for me. And it was a form of meditation for me. And I think really one of the biggest breakthroughs for me was when I said that I don't have to be like that person or that person. And I think a lot of runners get into, I'm looking at Strava and I've got to beat that person's record, or I've got to beat that person's time. And, you know, I gotta make sure that I'm, you know, doing my fartleks on Thursday and I'm doing my tempo runs. And when you are able to just sit back and get away from that and enjoy the run and breathe and think about things, not think about things, and just feel the sensations around you, that is when you really truly unlock the power of running. And that's when you're able to enjoy the run. And I know for a lot of us, you know, we're all going to go through the impermanence of, man, I really don't want to run tonight. I'd rather just stay home and watch Married at First Sight, or I'd rather just stay home and cook some burgers or something like that. But then a lot of the times when you do go out and run, you thank yourself afterwards, and you're like, man, I'm so thankful that I did that, because I was able to let go of what happened at work. I was able to not worry about such and such being a nag in my head, or I don't have to worry about this. And then when you're not worried about time and you're not worried about watch, you're not worried about your ego. And your ego takes a second place. And I think once you're able to let go of the ego, you can really enjoy running to its whole totality. And Jenna, I know, me and Jenna have run together so many times and have had, several conversations. Jenna is top class. For anybody here in this chat room, anyone who knows Jenna is a top class runner. But what I've seen since Jenna has come back from Patagonia, and even Joe, I feel like the Brady Bunch right here. Joe's down here, Jenna's here. But, I've seen a certain change in these individuals because they're not so locked in on times and they're not so locked in on getting this. They're able to enjoy their runs and be free in their runs. And I've definitely noticed that in Jenna, for sure, because I've run with her so many times. And just hearing her speak now, it speaks so much credence to what you're saying. There's a time and a place, and I'm not knocking when you need to go into training mode, because there's times when I go into training mode and I'm just like legit, I just want to, boom, boom, boom. But there's a time and a place when you just need to enjoy the run, enjoy everything around you. And I think once you're able to really enjoy the totality and bring the mind and bring the spirit and everything together, it doesn't have to be a kumbaya moment. It just needs to be a moment in reality and being present and being able to be present and mindful on the run. And when you're able to do that, you can enjoy everything because no one's judging you. You don't have to judge anyone. And it's just you, the pavement or the concrete and the gravel and the air around you.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, we're running a little bit behind time. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything. It's we wanted to open it up for a Q&A. Just if anyone from that's listening in wants to add some questions and just join the conversation. Yeah, now's the time. I don't know if anyone has any questions. If you do, just there's if you click on the participants button on the lower part, you can raise your hand and we'll see who's raising their hands and we can unmute you and so on. Okay, there you are. Mo, can you unmute? I think you're the host for this. Yeah.
The opportunity. My name's Masharika. I've been running for 20 plus years, long distance, primarily marathons across the United States. I'm sheltering in place in a pretty rural part of Northern California, and the land was originally stewarded by the Washoe Native American tribe. It's important for land acknowledgement to say that. My question, two questions if I may. The first is, how do you as runners, when entering into new lands, acknowledge the first peoples who stewarded? I'm feeling some strange energy from the land while I'm running, and I want to be mindful of that and honor the land appropriately. And my second question is, because this is my first time running on open trails out in forest, how do you find your center and your calm? Because I am very afraid of bears and mountain lions, and I know that this is their land and I want to respect that, and I'm just trying to find my place in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Masharika. Just to add to your first question, one thing we always stress a lot within our experiences, or I mean, even when we're out running on ourselves, is that running is a prayer, and we've learned that a lot from the communities we've visited. And when you approach, I think that when you approach running as a prayer and as a way to honor the land, There's this one quote from Anthony from the Tohono O'odham Nation by the border with Mexico and the States. He told us that every time they run, they're thinking about giving to the earth. With one step you give, and with the other you receive, and it's always an act of giving and receiving. So I think the first part is that the way you're approaching running yourself, and the other thing we're always careful with, and of course us as being the facilitators of experiences that bring people to these places, is first making the people that come with us aware of the culture and everything that's going on in this place, but also creating strong bonds with the people in the land. No, and knowing them the way we are approaching running and what it means to us, and letting them know that this is a sign of respect from us as well, and a prayer as well. And this way, I think you establish an open channels for communication and respect, and giving place to all of these things, which are probably the most. I mean, what you're mentioning is one of the most important things when you're visiting a remote community that has an ancestral history to it, and of course you have to recognize all of these things and respect them, and I think just the fact of using running as it evolved in us humans is very powerful. And again, going back to the prayer and the spiritual side of running, I think approaching it that way is something very profound, and it communicates itself when you're running this way, and you communicate it to the land as well. And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know, but I think the second part of your question, I'm guessing Hakeem is the one to answer that.
The way I would answer that question, sis, is for me, before any and every run, I start with a grounding exercise. And it's a way for me to ground myself, not only to the ancestors, but to the earth too. So what I would suggest you do is, before you start your run, just close your eyes and, make sure that you have 10 toes on the ground. And whether you place your hands on your heart or your abdomen or just by your side, be conscious to have a prayer, invoke the ancestor spirits, and talk to them and have that conversation. And then in the same time, ground yourself with the earth. You're one with the earth now, and you're one with that earth that you're residing in at that present moment in time. So, as Daniel says, make your offerings, make your prayer to the ancestors, make your prayers to, the land itself. And with that, when you don't bring bad intention, no bad intention is going to come to you. It's just that simple. So, there's an old saying that Buddha says, that what the mind thinketh, the energies create. And that's what you need to do. Bring that energy forth into the atmosphere and into the universe. And if you're bringing peace to the bears and the mountain lions and so forth, they're going to feel that peace. Just that simple. Does that sound fair? Beautiful.
If you guys don't mind, one thing I'd like to add. Sorry, my name is Mike. I'm calling in from Canada. I've been fortunate enough to do a few of the excursions with Air Libre, as well as have them up doing some of the stuff we do up in Canada. And what I've noticed with the retreats that they do that I haven't seen anybody else do is really have this like cultural exchange with the guests that are on the retreat, and then the people whose land we're on, so that we can both learn from each other and as well as like really immerse ourselves within the culture. And I think that has been like the really unlock. I know we've been talking, or there's been a lot of talk of the run and the spirituality side of running and the meditative side, but I almost feel like when I was going on these retreats, running ended up becoming secondary to everything that I was learning about the people and the land and the culture. And that was a huge unlock for me of wanting to go back again and again and continue to want to go back, because we can all run no matter where we are, but it's that like that connection that you guys bring to the land and the people that is something that I have yet to see be replicated.
Amazing, Mike. Yeah, you bring an amazing point to the table, man. It's how running just becomes a vehicle at the end, and everything that surrounds it is what really makes everything special, huh?
Oh, and just to add, well, Mike says, that's such a great, beautiful point. You know, a lot of us have in the film, we have this preconceived notion of how a certain person is going to be, how a certain culture is going to be. And for me, I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't really know much about the Mexican culture. I didn't really know much about Latinx culture. You know, I've been around Mexican culture, I've been around Puerto Rican culture, Colombian culture, but did I really know too much about it? What this made me do is it immersed me. And the only thing that I can, the analogy that I'm going to use is that I wasn't just, my head was slowly dipped into the pool pit. It was like immersed in there, and it was like wash, wash. And then I was able to come out and I was like, okay, this is it. And it was beautiful because before I went to Chiapas, I'm Hakim Tafari. I came out of Chiapas as Joaquin. So, you know, and the natives called me Joaquin. And that was what was so mystic, was that even going to Oaxaca, that name stuck. And it was beautiful because I came back to America and I had Mexican natives of the US country telling me that I knew more about their culture than they did. And it made them want to go explore their culture even more now. So the mysticism behind that is so powerful because I really not only took just a slice of humble pie of Latinx culture, I took like a couple of pieces actually. I took about 3 or 4 pieces. And what I came back with is just such a love and compassion and understanding. In fact, I'm not even going to say understanding, an overstanding of that culture, of Oaxacan culture, of true Mexican culture. Just this, and going the Day of the Dead, going at so many different pivotal times within this rich culture. As you said, Mike, running actually took a second place. And for anyone who knows me, I'll always say it's bigger than running. It's always bigger than running. And when you go on these certain experiences, you learn that running is just a second vehicle. It's really just the culture and everything that surrounds that culture that brings running into the fold. So, you know, great point, Mike. I have to give you the click for that because that is such a beautiful point. And for anyone who is interested or is even remotely, you know, thinking about it, I wish I could bring a whole bunch of people from, say, South Central to somewhere like Oaxaca. I wish I could bring some people from Brixton or from Norwood or from Idaho to somewhere like Chiapas or Oaxaca or Peru so that they can understand what culture is about. Because we think we understand culture, we think we know culture, but until you're in these remote places looking at toilets that don't have running water, or drinking out of coconut, or drinking out of utensils that have been in the family for 30, 40 years, and watch them making certain concoctions, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And for them to call you family and you don't understand their language and they don't understand you, but there is an understanding between you. there's such a beauty and a richness in that I have to thank Mao and Daniel for giving me this opportunity to be in this whole realm, because I was somewhat ignorant, and it was almost like I had a whole bunch of crust around the third eyelid. And once I came off that airplane back into the US, my shit was beaming like this. So, you know, I have to thank you guys for helping me out with that. That was absolutely amazing.
Nothing to thank about. So yeah, I guess we may have time for one or two more questions and then wrap it up. If anybody, you know, raise your hand with on the platform, or comments, doesn't have to be a question. I think we're good then. So yeah, well, before to wrap it up, no, we wanted to close the conversation with just the last thoughts, you know, of how, well, this is an open invitation, you know, open invitation for everyone to try to adopt in your daily practice, you know, this attitude of an explorer, this attitude of trying to, of making that left instead of the usual right, and as soon as things allow, you know, for you to go out and take the trip and open your eyes and open your mind, because that's what we all have a lot of things to still see and to learn, and the world's there, you know? We just have to adopt this attitude, use the amazing and powerful tool that running is to help us do this, reach these places, both in body and in mind. And so yeah, those are basically my closing words and invitations. And Jenna, Danny, or Hakeem, if you want to add anything, any last thoughts. But that's for me, and thank you all for being present, and I hope to at some point share some magic miles with all of you.
I also just want to say thank you to everyone who's been a part of this and listening. It's great to be able to have these discussions and hopefully be able to connect with each of you guys individually at some point as well. I think one of the biggest things that I've been able to take away is, you know, I've been a runner for years, and it's my goal now really to never fall out of love with running. And the more I just kind of, you know, let my natural curiosity and wonder, you know, take me to different places, it's been huge. And, you know, in a time right now with COVID-19 and a lot of uncertainties in the world, it's been something that's really just held my feet to the ground as I wake up and say, you know, take things day by day with what's going on in the community around me. And forever grateful to have been a part of my Patagonia experience. And, you know, I'll be exploring what's around me for now, but hope to be able to really learn and continue to grow in the wider world.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. I think this is probably the first Zoom that I haven't been saying defund the police, F the police, and crying about losing Black folks. So, you know, I just want to say that it was beautiful not to talk about any of that and to talk about running, and to see so many beautiful faces on this Zoom call, and that we didn't have to talk about anything but just running, spirituality, and just, you know, unplugging and untuning. That was really that's so beautiful for me today. So thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you all for this being with us all today. This is my family right here in these squares. And I know so many of you, and I'm really hoping to run with so many of you. I know this thing that is happening right now with this pandemic, I want us all to feel, I want us all to hold the power of impermanence for this, because it is just a passing thing. It is going to go away. And I know for a lot of us, we've seen people who have either been affected by it, who have passed away from it. The thing is that we just have to hold true to ourselves, be respectful of others, and we will get through this, and we will be able to run miles again with each other together. So with that, I want to say Nama Amitofu and peace, and thank you all.
Yeah, from my side as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. I said it at the beginning, but it's an incredible honor to be a part of this and a part of this growing community. And every time we either host an event physically or one of these talks, it's just incredible to see how much goodness there is out in the world. And I feel so lucky that all of you guys just decided to stay here for an hour with us and listen to what we have to say. It's amazing. So thank you for believing in us, following what we're doing. Hakeem, Jenna, thank you for being a part of this and for being a part of this family. And yeah, that's it for today. And hopefully we'll have another one of these very soon. Okay, much love to everyone.
Now we all go out and run.
Good night. Buenos dias.
I'm just staying to see who is the last man standing.
I was going to wrap it.
Daniel
Daniel was like, I gotta go.